Welcome back to the Stanford Cardinal Dynasty. We have some big games ahead of us today, as first we faced our first rival in the series and the San Jose Spartans, and it's going to be a blackout game. Not only do we host our rivals, but we do so with two 4-star prospects coming in town for visits and the recruiting trail. That includes wide receiver Pat McLaughlin and quarterback Marvin Childress. We're hoping to impress these two players to bring them in and bolster our rebuild for the series. The Spartans won the last meeting 34-31, but Stanford has dominated this series with 52 total wins and only 15 losses. Walker Eggett leads his team out looking for wins in back-to-back games in the series. He starts off with a fake to the running back, and then he pulls up the throw and finds Mason Starling wide open, who had Colin Wright all turned around, and he picks up big yardage. Later on the drive, 3rd and goal from the 5, Eggett drops back the pass, and he's going to find Starling in the end zone this time for a Spartan touchdown. San Jose comes out firing and scores on the opening drive. Stanford finds themselves down early, and Micah Ford has found his footing in the last couple of games, but San Jose has Jordan Pollard to potentially slow him down. First down from the 26, Brown's going to draw back the pass, and he's going to find Sam Rush on the screenplay, and he's going to pick up 17 yards to kick off the drive. Cardinal then face a 4th and 1, and Cedric Irvin gets the call. He darts up the middle. He picks up the yards to gain and much more, getting inside San Jose territory. They get the drive down to the 6-yard line. But Elijah Brown takes the snap. He's going to throw it short to Sam Roush, who's going to run it inside the end zone, and that's a touchdown. Stanford comes back to quickly tie the game. Late in the first down, Spartan ball at the 37. Eggett's going to go up top from the gun. He's going to look for the one-on-one matchup, but it's picked off by Colin Wright. He goes up top and makes an athletic catch to go up in the one-on-one coverage and snag it, denying them 6 in the process. Stanford looking to capitalize, but face a 3rd and 10. Elijah Brown's going to find C.J. Williams on a drag route. He beats his man, and he turns upfield for a big gain, extending the drive. Unfortunately, the drive stalled, and kicker Emmett Kinney came on for the field goal, but he pushes it right, and it falls no good, and the score remains 7-7. Spartans picking up on their next possession. Eggett from the empty. He doesn't get the ball off quickly. He tries to tuck it and run, but it's chased down and sacked by Tavara Tafiti. But the defense wasn't done there, as on 3rd and 7, they send the heat again, and this time it's the other edge rusher, Ernest Cooper, coming home for the sack to sack the quarterback in back-to-back plays. Stanford then looks to establish a run on the following drive when Ford takes the handoff. He darts left and picks up big yardage. On the 32 now, Ford's going to take the handoff again and picks up even more yardage as San Jose leaves the middle wide open for 16 yards. Ball down to the 2-yard line now, and Stanford looks to cap off the drive. From the pistol, they're going to hand the ball off to Irvin, who dashes up the middle, untouched for a 2-yard touchdown, and Stanford takes their first lead of the game. Stanford tacks on 3 more, making the score 17-7 going into the halftime. Both teams' passing offenses have been throwing it all over the field, with the main difference maker here being the interception by Colin Wright and the 2 sacks that Stanford defense has so far. Skipping ahead, 9 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Stanford still throwing it as Brown throws it up top to Bryce Farrell, who makes the catch and breaks the tackle for a big gain as he fitted through the tight window there, getting them inside of Spartan territory. In the red zone now, Brown's going to drop back the pass again. He's going to look for a receiver, but he quickly tucks it. He's going to run for the end zone. He gets tackled in, but it's a Cardinal touchdown. Stanford looks to break it open as they take a 24-7 lead midway through the 3rd quarter. 4th quarter now, score sitting at 27-10 after both teams trade field goals. Danny Squadero, he goes in motion, then he returns back off the snap. Eggett drops back to pass. He's going to dump it short to Scudero, who's going to break a tackle while 2 others miss, and then he dashes upfield for a nice gain. Very next play, more motion from the Spartans, but this time Eggett throws it downfield, and that's Leland Smith who finds a gap for a catch and is tackled in the end zone for a touchdown. Spartans cut the lead to 10 with 10 to play. Stanford tacked on 3 more, making the score 30-17 with 4 to play. Spartans still fighting as Eggett's going to drop back to throw, and he's going to look up and throw a strike to Malachi Riley up the seam for 17 yards. They get down to the goal line with 2 minutes left. Eggett gets just enough time, and he's going to find Riley again, this time in the end zone for another Spartan touchdown, cutting the lead to just 6 late in the 4th quarter. The following drive sees Stanford run the clock down to 30 seconds, Kenny comes on to kind of ice the game, but his kick comes up just short of the goalpost for his second miss of the game, and Spartans still alive. San Jose still alive, but they have no timeouts. Their drive starts off on the 36. Egan's going to take the snap. He's going to throw it short to Starling, who can't get out of bounds, but he does pick up the first, and Spartans hurry up to the line to try to spike it. They do get up to the line of scrimmage, and Egan spikes it with 9 seconds to play. On the next play here from the 48, Egan's going to drop back the pass. He's going to find Starling up the middle, but he's tackled inbounds, and Spartans have to run up to try to spike it again. 4, 3, 2, 1, and they can't get the snap off, and the Stanford Cardinal knocks off their rivals and now have officially exceeded their win total from the past 4 years in just 5 games this season. Elijah Brown balls out, going over 300 yards for the first time this season. After the electric win, more wins kept stacking as quarterback Josh Pinto commits as the first player of our reign over the program. Initially, the Visitors were top tiers for both players who came in, and we're now leading the race for both 4-star players, though USC is still closely considered by McLaughlin. Game 2 sees Stanford head back on the road for an ACC matchup against the SMU Mustangs. A completely different test than the Spartans, especially going on the road in Dallas, Texas. Early in the first quarter, Brown's going to look to continue his hot streak when he finds Bryce Farrell across the middle for a big gain early on in the drive. Later on 3rd and goal from the 7, Brown's going to drift back, but he's going to find Jordan Anugwe, who breaks the arm tackle and finds his way in the end zone. Touchdown, Cardinal! They came out of the gates firing to score first on the road. SMU takes over with quarterback Kevin Jennings at the helm. He drops back the pass, looking to test the Cardinals secondary early, and finds wide receiver Romello Brinson wide open for a 40-yard gain. A few plays later, facing a 3rd and 5, Stanford sends the heat, and Tavaro Tafiti comes free for the sack, ending the drive. SMU is forced to punt, and Wade McSparron comes on to boot it away. He's going to boot this one. He drops it inside the 5, and it bounces out of bounds at the 1-yard line for a great punt there. SMU defense immediately looks to capitalize on it as Stanford tries to run on first down before it is stuffed in the backfield and taken down for a safety. 7-5 now in the score late in the first. Elijah Brown takes a snap on the 42, throws a screen pass to Cedric Irvin, who gets great blocking downfield. He picks up the first down and a 20-yard gain. Later on the drive, they bring a man in motion. Ford's going to take the outside give. He dashes between his tackles, and he's going to run it all the way to the end zone. Touchdown, Cardinal! Extending their lead 14-5 with the offense rolling early. Second quarter now, Stanford ball on the 38. Elijah Brown takes a snap. He's going to throw it up top. It's Caden High. He hauls it in for a big touchdown. Stanford flexing their offensive might here in Texas as Elijah Brown has full confidence to air it out. SMU now down 21-8 with 4 minutes left in the half. Jennings draws back the pass and throws a laser to Brinson again for another 27 yards. 2 plays later on 3rd and 10, Jennings going to dump it short to Dylan Goffney. He stood up by a defender, but he loses the ball, and then it's recovered by Colin Wright to force the turnover. Crucial play there by the defense, and they get the ball back to Stanford. They look to capitalize. Ford takes the handoff. He dashes left and cuts it back up middle, and that's another big gain. Later on 3rd and goal from the 4, Brown fakes the handoff and throws it quick to wide receiver Marcus Brown, who runs it to the end zone for another Stanford touchdown. Cardinal jump out to a 20-point lead in the first half on the road. SMU put together a solid 2-minute drill, getting the ball down to the 18-yard line. Jenny's going to drop back the pass, but it's intercepted by Brandon Nicholson, taking the ball away and keeping the Mustangs out of the end zone to end the half. 28-8 Stanford lead going into halftime, and Michael Ford has dominated the Mustang defense well on his way to 100 yards, averaging 7.3 yards per handoff, and already has a touchdown in the first half. SMU has a lot of work to do, and they are on the ropes going into the second half, but they were to possess the ball first. However, Jackson Lavender had different plans. He fields it 4 yards deep. He takes it out. Quick cut to the right, then dashes through the lane, and it's open field. 40, 30, 20, 10, touchdown, Mustangs. 104-yard kick return to open the half. We skip ahead to the fourth quarter with 8 minutes to play. Brown's going to hand off to Ford, who burst up the middle through an open lane on his way to crossing the century mark for the game. A few plays later, Cardinals going to go for it on 4th and 3. Brown's going to find Caden High on a short route to convert the line again. They continue to drive down to the 2-yard line when Elijah Brown runs it up the middle on the QB keeper for the Stanford touchdown. Another brilliant game for Brown through the air and on the ground as the Stanford Cardinal ends up upsetting the SMU Mustangs on the road convincingly at that. 38-18 the final score, with Elijah Brown being crowned player of the game, throwing for 331 yards on 78% completion percentage and 4 touchdowns. What a game for the sophomore, who also took home ACC Offensive Player of the Week due to this performance. And lastly, after this week, 4-star prospect Pat McLaughlin has officially committed to Stanford for next season. What a win for the program, and have our future a little bit brighter. If you're excited, please hit that like button, and see you guys next time.